Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be another explanation of why comics were featured in the Seduction of the Innocent. So I wanted to show you some of the comics that I just recently unboxed and why they were featured inside of this book, Seduction of the Innocent. So here are the comics that I recently unboxed right here. And I'm going to show you why each of them kind of made it into this notorious list of comics that led to the Comic Code Authority and the whole changing of comics altogether from the Golden Age to the Silver Age. So I'm going to quickly go through them. Here's the very first one. This is Dynamic Comics number 17. This is probably one of the most notorious comics. If you looked at it, you'd probably think it's just like Beetle Bailey or something like that. It kind of has a very, very simple cover. Not really much going on there. But it was featured inside. There was actually inside of this Seduction Innocent, they actually had panels where they showed some of the interiors of the comics. And this one was this one up here. This is the one. And this is notorious because of the fact that it children told me what the man was going to do with the hot poker. And so it's known as the hot poker comic, where the man's basically torturing a woman with a hot poker. So for that reason, it's very notorious, just because it's like, wow, that's so extreme. Why are you showing kids this brutal form of torture? So that was the reason why that book made it into the comic. And any of the comics that were kind of featured in this, these actual photos, are considered much more valuable because of the fact that they were like, most of the references within this book are like very vague. It's like, they'll maybe quote some line from the comic, but to have the actual panel being shown is a big deal. So these ones are like a little bit more sought after by collectors. So the next one is this one. And this is actually in the Seduction of the Innocent for a very interesting reason. So what happened was, in this book, there's a scene where there's a police officer that gets shot, okay? And, that's teaching kids violence against police officers, violence against authority. And basically what Wortham thought was that in itself is really bad. But to make it worse is this comic also features an ad for BB guns. So basically it's not only teaching kids to, shoot cops potentially, but it's also giving them the weapons to do so. So that's kind of why this made the list. I'm going to actually read to you, it's on page 33, what Wortham said about that particular comic. The Superman group of comic books is super endorsed. A random example shows the inside cover, the endorsement of 2 psychiatrists, one educator, one English professor, and a child study consultant. On the page facing this array is depicted a man dressed as a boy shooting a police officer in the mouth with a toy pistol. This is a prank, the prankster's second childhood. He quotes that. In this story, there is a variant of the comic book theme of a girl being thrown into a fire. Her dress is afire in a split second. She'll need Superman's help. Another tenement building is set afire and also taken care of by Superman after it is afire. Until the near end of the book, it attempts to kill people that are not looked upon askance, and they are not to be prevented apparently by humans, only by a Superman. Then the lesson that after all you should not kill is impressed like this. You conniving, unscrupulous cad, try to murder Carol, will you? This scarcely moral condemnation. The lawyer who does not share in the $1 million swindle is praised by Superman because he remained honest. In fact, this honesty is rewarded with $1 million. A gun advertisement with 4 pictures of guns completes the impression that even if you can't become Superman, at least you can rise above the average by using force. This Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman group is a special form of crime comics. The gun advertisements are elaborate and realistic. In one story, a foreign-looking scientist starts a green skirt movement. Several boys are told that they thought he would look like Einstein. Okay, so basically, his issue is that, as I said, he doesn't like the fact that in one scene you get all these authorities saying how great of a book this is, like psychiatrists, educators, and they're all saying how good of a moral story Superman is, and then the next thing you have is immoral stuff, like somebody shooting a cop in the mouth with a toy gun, and then later in the book you also get somebody like an ad for toy guns. So all those combined really bothered Wortham. So that was kind of an interesting one. The next one is this Tegra, the Jungle Empress, and this is her first issue. And in this, basically what happens is Tegra sprays like radioactive stuff onto another woman's bare chest, and he just thinks that kind of violence is it's a bit sexual and a bit violent, is teaching kids immoral moral ideas. Okay, so I'll read to you that section as well. That's on page 31. I have notes so that I know which page to look for. And I gotta flip to it. Okay. Jungle horror and interplanetary comics are also crime comics of a special kind. Crime comics specialize in torture, bloodshed, and the lust in an exotic setting. Daggers, claws, guns, wild animals, well or overdeveloped girls and brasiers, as little as else as possible, dark natives, fires, stakes, posts, chains, big-chested and heavy-muscled Nordic he-men dominate the stage. Then they contain such details as one girl squirting fiery radium dust on the protruding breasts of another girl. Okay? I think I've discovered your Achilles heel, chum. White men banging natives sound. A close-up view of a braided-breasted girl. On the branded, sorry. A close-up view of a branded breast of a girl about to be blinded. Okay, so this is the reason why. So as I said, it was really that he felt like if you look at the girl, she's kind of like hypersexualized because she's wearing very little clothing. She's fighting like a panther or something, and you get the situation where not only is she like suggestive, but she's doing violence. So it's sexual plus violent. Those are big themes for Wortham that he really, really thought were corrupting the minds of kids. So That's why that one was in here. Now the next one is Top Secrets, number 7. And this also made it into the illustrations for the fact that it basically shows how to injure people, how to do the most damage to a person. So I'm going to show you the illustration. I have to get the picture. So yeah, so basically it had this illustration inside. I hope you can see. I'll move it over a bit. So this is the illustration that it used, and it just showed all the ways that you could injure somebody. And if you read them, it's like eyes, finger jab or thumb gouge, temples, kick or extended knuckles blow, bridge of nose, edge of hand blow, lips, edge of hand blow or pinch, chin, heel of hand or fist blow, shins kick, arch heel stamp, ankle foot counter joint movement. Okay, so these are all ways of torturing somebody and hurting them and causing the most pain. And that's what that book teaches young kids. How do you inflict pain on your enemies? So again, this whole idea of teaching kids violence. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And this one is kind of really interesting story behind it. This is Trapped, number 1. And what happened was this book was actually praised by the governor of New York because it had sort of a anti-drug abuse theme. Okay, it was trying to teach kids, don't do drugs, kids. This is back in the early 50s, 1951. And it was trying to teach kids, don't do drugs. And what happened was this book was praised by that governor. And in praising it, he also went against, there was like a crime comic, like policy that they were going to come up with. What was it called? I have notes about it. The Crime Comic Book Control Bill. Okay? And what they were going to do is basically come out with this control bill, and it was going to basically ban these kind of comics from being allowed to be produced. And the governor spoke against that bill. He actually tried to stop the bill, even though the bill had a lot of support, because at that time there were a lot of people that were buying into what Wortham was saying, that people were very paranoid that comics were corrupting the minds of kids. And because of that, Wortham really criticized that governor in this book. So he was like being critical of the comic and of that governor for not basically supporting that bill. Now the last of these comics that made the list is Haunt of Fear number 19. Now this one is really interesting, and it also is in here on several pages, because it was one of those comics that was, again, very notorious, one that Wortham really hated. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. Well, it is pretty, it's a legitimate reason maybe, but it's not for the reason you might think. This comic features a beheading on the cover. You can see that. I'm not sure if you can see that. You can see the couple are about to get beheaded. That's not the reason. It also features a decapitation panel. That is not the reason. However, it goes even further than all of that, where it has a baseball game being played inside. And in the baseball game, people are wearing different body parts of people. So, for example, the catcher is wearing a chest plate, which is made from somebody else's chest. And it's all these kind of body parts, and they're throwing a head over the plate. You know, it's that gruesomeness of it. Well, that's why it made the Seduction of Innocent. And I'll show you the illustration that shows all that, so you can be corrupted and I can destroy your minds. That's always a good thing to do to my viewers. Destroy their minds with showing them the corrupt books of the past. Let's see if I can find the illustration here. So here it is here. Gotta turn it on the side so I can show you. So you can see he's about to throw the head, and the guy at the home base is wearing a chest protector with somebody else's chest. And if you look at the bat, it's somebody's arm or leg. I think it's a leg or arm, I'm not sure. So yeah, so that's that gruesomeness that, you know, Wortham really thought was teaching kids really corrupt things and destroying their minds, their innocence. So I hope you enjoy these kind of videos where I explain a little bit of history behind the comics. And if you have comments below of future videos that you'd like me to do, please make those comments below. And please like and comment. Please like and subscribe to this video, and click that bell notification. You know, I post out every day, and you're missing out on some really great stuff that I post. I post unboxing videos. I post obscure comics. I post spec sometimes, not often, spec videos. And I post a lot of really great top 10 lists. So please remember to hit that bell notification so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching. Bye.